ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 4 on the spiritual teachings of Swami Brahmananda, a direct disciple of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. This video starts with chapter number 16, Control of the Mind. Disciple puts a question to Swami Brahmananda. Swami Brahmananda was also called Maharaj. So disciple asked the question, Maharaj, with all my efforts, I cannot control my mind. It is so restless. Please tell me how to curb it. Swami Brahmananda replies, no doubt to control the mind is difficult, but it is not impossible. By regular practice, it can be quieted and brought under restraint. Therefore, perform a little meditation every day and never fail to do it. The nature of the mind is to run away like a restless boy. Drag it back whenever it seeks to go out and set it to meditating on God. If you can continue this struggle for 2 or 3 years, you will find in you a joy unspeakable. Your mind will be calm and docile. In the beginning, meditation proves very difficult and dry. But if you persist, as in the taking of a medicine, you will find in it a perennial source of joy, pure and unalloyed. What terrible ordeals does a student pass through for his examinations? God realization is far easier than that. If you call upon Him with sincerity and unperturbed mind, He will surely reveal Himself unto you. Disciple puts another question. All this is no doubt hopeful, but at times when I think that with so much meditation I have not made any progress, everything seems vain and a horrible despondency overwhelms me. I despair of success. What shall I do then, sir? Swami Brahmananda replies, never despair. There is no cause for despair. The law of karma is irresistible. If you do a good deed, it will produce a good effect. With sincere devotion or without it, in any way you like, if you chant the holy name of God, it will always bring you good. The result is inevitable. Therefore, shake off all your despair and push on it in the struggle with strictness and regularity. Then peace will surely come and dwell in you. Through meditation, not only does the mind become pacified, but the body also improves and diseases lessen. Therefore, even from the standpoint of good health, one should practice meditation. This disciple puts another question. Maharaj, what is the necessity of spiritual initiation? Without the help of a guide, if a man in his own way devotes himself entirely to God, will not that be enough to realize Him? Swami Brahmananda replies, initiation is necessary because it helps concentration. When you are initiated, you are shown the object upon which the mind is to be concentrated. You cannot let your mind waver from one thing to another. If you are not initiated, you have no particular object to concentrate upon. Today you fix your mind on Hari, tomorrow on Kali, and the third day on the formless Brahma. A grim restlessness is the result. This is most harmful to an aspirant. Until this state is overcome and replaced by a peaceful attitude of mind, spiritual realization will ever remain a distant prospect. To attain this calmness of mind and to avert unsteadiness, initiation or the help of a guide is necessary. The spiritual path is a most formidable one, strewn with innumerable pitfalls. Unless a man is guided by an experienced hand, however clever he may be, he is sure to stumble. Without tormenting yourself, work hard, my boy, then will you find joy. In the beginning, you are to drudge on as if you were learning the alphabets. Do not worry, do not complain, gradually peace will come. Do you know how I behave with those who always complain that they are not finding peace or joy? For the first 2 or 3 years after their initiation, I give no reply, nor do I pay heed to them. After that, when they meet me, they tell me that they are making some progress and also finding some joy and peace. A man must try steadily for some time before he can expect a peaceful state of mind. Therefore, I ask you to struggle for a period of at least 3 years without any break. Then you can have a claim to joy and not earlier. You will not do anything and yet you want to succeed. Is it not absurd? Nothing great can be achieved by trickery or idleness. If you really want peace, if you truly desire to realize God, then work steadily and wait. Spiritual realization is a question of time. Yours is to struggle and to wait. The mother bird knows well when to open the egg. So the Divine Mother reveals herself to the devotee when the time is ripe. Work and wait. This waiting period is a very hard time. The devotee is always in suspense. Now hope, now despair, now joy, the next moment sorrow. So the struggle goes on. He is constantly fighting a fierce duel, and this continues till he is blessed with the vision of God. But if he is led by a competent guide, he can be relieved of much of this struggle. A wise guide can give an upward lift to the struggling mind, even when it is not mature. Such help also has its dangers. If repeated too often, a greater struggle and a deeper despair may result. In this period of struggle and sadhana, the aspirant must be always alert. He must follow certain fixed rules of conduct and never deviate from them. He must observe perfect continence and eat only such foods as have a soothing effect on his body. He will have to be under the direct guidance of one who understands. He must not exert his brain too much in meditation, otherwise, he is sure to suffer. His brain will become heated, he will feel giddy, and other brain troubles will follow. Meditation in the primary stage being regular warfare with the mind constantly going outward and the sadhaka trying to drag it back to the feet of the Lord. There is every possibility of the brain becoming overheated. The aspirant should prevent this in the beginning of his sadhana. He should apply himself to pranayama, control of breath, and other hatha yoga exercises. He should proceed slowly and steadily in the spiritual path. Then these preliminary struggles will disappear one by one until finally he will attain to the state of real meditation. Then, even though he meditates for long hours at a stretch, he will feel as refreshed both in body and mind as after deep sleep. He will also feel great joy within. The spiritual novice must keep a special eye on his diet, the body and the mind being closely connected. The least change in the one is followed by a corresponding change in the other. If the stomach is irritated by taking any improper food, the mind too will have a like effect. And for a restless mind, meditation is impossible. It is for this reason that such stringent emphasis is laid on the dialectic regulations of a sadhaka. Under no circumstances, again, should the sadhaka fill more than one half of his stomach with food, and half of the remaining half is to be left for water, while the rest should be kept empty for the free passage of air. An aspirant must not be dejected in spirit, brooding on his failures and mistakes. However great a sin a man may have committed, it is a sin only to the limited vision of a man. From the absolute standpoint, from the standpoint of God, it is nothing at all. A single glance of the Lord sets at naught all the sins of millions of births. The heavy punishments prescribed for sin in the scriptures are merely to maintain social order and to make people refrain from the evil ways of life. God our Father is ever merciful to us. He is ever loving to his children. His name removes all evils. Therefore, there is no cause for dejection if we call upon him sincerely. It is true, no doubt, that as the result of our past actions, at times dejection and despair sweep over our mind, but that is no reason why a sadhaka should yield to them. Knowing that past actions may try to overwhelm him, he should be prepared to fight against them. God will give him strength, his name will be an impenetrable armor. It will save him from all consequences. This is one way of sadhana. It is rather dry and monotonous in the beginning. There is another path, the path of the Vaishnavite. It is a very pleasant path. It does not involve so much hardship. It is more gentle. In this path, you are to contemplate the life and deeds of Sri Krishna, Sri Rama, or some other incarnation of the Lord. There is no monotony, no drudgery in it. A devotee must establish some relation with God and worship Him in that aspect. But this also has great dangers. It has often been found that many unfit persons, in their attempt to worship God as a lover, have fallen off from their ideal. Chapter number 17, Turning the Mind to God. Disciple puts a question to Swami Brahmananda. Sir, how can we turn our mind to God? Swami Brahmananda replies, the Swami, by keeping company with the wise and the good, by observing their daily actions and living them in your own life. You can turn your mind to God. You are to imitate the ways and manners of those who have their minds turned toward Him. The great barrier that obstructs your correct vision of God is the doubt and confusion of your mind. They haunt the mind, swing it to and fro, and lead it to run after diverse objects. Drive them out with the sharp sword of discrimination. If you are not able to do so by your own strength, seek the aid of those who are adept in doing it, the sadhus. A beginner should sit beside holy men and listen to them with profound attention and retain their words of counsel in his memory, but it must not end there. He must try to realize what he learns from them. Bear in mind that neither talking nor learning nor study will lead you to realization unless you practice and live what you hear and learn. Practice in life is not at all possible without brahmacharya or absolute continence. Hence, brahmacharya is a very necessary. Many attempt to realize God by studying the scriptures, but they do not know that without brahmacharya no one can catch the spirit of the scriptures, much less realize God. For various reasons, brahmacharya is most essential. If you have the desire to turn your mind to God and realize Him, perform spiritual practices based on brahmacharya. If you wish to read any books, I would recommend to you the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and such works. Read them and then try to realize what you read. The more you read such books, the more light you will find in them. Your knowledge of God derived from hearsay is quite different from that acquired by practicing sadhana. This again differs widely from knowledge you acquire after realization. Do you know what Nag Mahasaya used to say? It is easier to earn fame than to renounce it. He who can renounce it is a really great man. He also said, an anchored boat does not move forward. He meant a man whose mind is deep rooted in lust and gold cannot move Godward unless he can free himself from their deluding influence through austere sadhana. God and pleasure seeking cannot go together. If you want the one who you have to banish the other. Human birth is a rare privilege. Having it, if you do not strive after God, you are surely very unfortunate. Your human birth will have been in vain. Sri Sankara has said human birth, desire for salvation, and the company of holy men are rare things on earth. Those who are blessed with all three are the most fortunate among men. Disciple puts a question as to the best way of directing the mind inward to God. Sri Ramakrishna has prescribed occasional retirement into solitude for a day or a month or for a year as opportunity may permit. You prescribe the company of the holy. Now, which of the two are we to follow, holy company or solitude? Swami Brahmananda replies, both are true and both are to be followed. In the primary stage, a man should not suddenly retire into solitude. To do so involves great danger. Many, in their effort to cut off human associations, have gone mad. Hence, great caution is necessary. It is only when a man has made some progress in the spiritual path that he can retire into solitude without danger. True solitude can be found nowhere in this world. Time, space, and causation are too small to give it. It is beyond mind, beyond intellect. It can be felt only in samadhi, super consciousness. It is identical with the most tranquil. Chapter 18, Example of a Holy Man. The Swami replies, read or hear however much you may, nothing will leave a more profound impression on your mind and benefit you so largely and practically as the company of holy men. You learn just from watching their daily life. As an illustration, I would like to relate an incident from the life of a devotee. Adhar Sen went to Sri Ramakrishna accompanied by a friend of his, an inspector of schools. This friend would at times experience a kind of inspiration and lose all outward consciousness. People called it bhava. One day it so happened that just after their arrival, the master fell into deep samadhi. From his face beamed a luster divine, indicating the unbounded joy that the master felt. At sight of this, Adhar Babu said to his companion, look here, my friend, I see your bhava is not real bhava. Whenever you enter it, you seem to feel a great torment within. From divine communion, no torment or torture can result. By what I see now in the Master, this flood of divine joy, my eyes are opened. Another man once visited Trilinga Swami, the great saint of Benares, who usually kept silent. On his return, he thought within himself, I went, but he did not speak. Then what is the good of going to him any more? Nevertheless, he paid him a second visit. This time, no sooner had he taken his seat by the side of the Swami than the latter suddenly began to weep bitterly and then he began to laugh. He was beside himself with madness of devotion. At this the man said to himself, what I have learnt today a thousand books could not teach. When I shall so yearn for God, I shall see Him. When I shall hate His grace only, then shall I enjoy such bliss. Disciple puts a question. Maharaj, many maintain that merely paying visits to holy men is enough. Hearing them or observing their life is not necessary. Are we to believe this? Swami Brahmananda replies, no, never. You must mix with them with an open heart. If any doubt arises in your mind, you must tell it to them frankly and get it solved by their help. If you are not able to do it yourself, you must also observe their life in detail and model yours by what you see in them. Disciple, Maharaj, you said that momentary enthusiasm brings no good, that spiritual realization is a question of time. Am I then to give up my yearning for God realization? Swami Brahmananda replies, I might have said that in connection with something else. By momentary enthusiasm is meant to become restless and cry and jump for a day or two from a fit of emotion, an external manifestation of a sudden internal feeling. This disappears in no time, then out of despair and dejection man gives up the path altogether. Disciple, as Sri Ramakrishna has said, if the place for digging a well is shifted again and again, you will never get water. Is that what you mean? Swami Brahmananda replies, yes, tenacity is what is required. If a man's restlessness results from sincere love of God, He cannot live a godless life even though he fails to realize him. Millions of births may pass without attaining him, yet he will per- persist in calling upon him steadily and quite unmoved. Swami Brahmananda replies that Swami Vivekananda used to say that a little awakening of the Kundalini, individualized cosmic energy, was very dangerous until she rises up higher. Lust, anger, and other lower passions become very disturbing. The Vaishnavite sadhana of Madhur Bhava or Sakhi Bhava, the attitude of worshipping God as an eternal bridegroom or a friend of the devotee, is exceedingly dangerous. In trying to remember constantly the story of Sri Krishna's divine play with Sri Radha, the Vaishnavites cannot control their lust and they do all sorts of lecherous acts. Hence, the restriction for the beginner, beginner in reading the Ras Leela story of Sri Krishna's divine play with Sri Radha and such works. Meditation is not an easy thing. Eat a bit more and your mind will not settle that day. When lust, anger, greed, and the whole host of evil passions are kept under control, then and then alone does meditation becomes possible. If any one of these assets itself, meditation will be impossible. It is easier to sit in a circle of burning fire, but to keep the passions under control and not allow them to make an impression upon the mind, that is real tapasya. What religion can there be for eunuchs? The control of passions and desires is the greatest penance. Seeing that worldly men are constantly engaged in unholy acts, it is not so much of a sin on your part if occasional evil thoughts crop up in your mind. Drive them out. Without meditation, the mind cannot become tranquil, and without tranquility, religion is not possible. To think I shall meditate when the mind grows tranquil is to think an impossibility. Tranquility and meditation must go hand in hand. We cannot love Sri Ramakrishna so long as there is the idea of bargaining in us. That's why we despair when we cannot see him after a little prayer. Still again, it is not desirable to give expression to our inner feelings, for that lessens the intensity of love. Chapter number 19, Meditation. Disciple puts a question to Swami Brahmananda. Disciple: Maharaj, how can God yearning be intensified? Swami Brahmananda replies, Swami, through steady spiritual practice with a mind purified by the influence of holy company and the instruction of the Guru, spiritual teacher, in this world, even in the art of stealing, a Guru is required. How much greater must be the necessity of a Guru for acquiring supreme knowledge of Brahma? Disciple: how can one attain peace? Swamiji: peace and sincere love of God and true faith come together. At the very start, how can one attain peace? First must come restlessness, yearning, and intense pain for not having seen Him. The greater the thirst, the sweeter the water. We must rouse unrest in the heart. When a man does not find happiness in the world, then he grows restless and attachment to God awakens within him. Disciple: how can love of God grow? Swamiji: by sadhana and prayer, thus have all attained. disciple. Is it possible in the world? Swamiji, is there anyone outside the world? Disciple, no, I mean living in the family. Swamiji replies, it is possible but very difficult. Disciple, when dispassion for the world comes, should one renounce? Swami Brahmananda replies, that is what is called Vairagyam. Yes, that is real Vairagyam, dispassion. Real Vairagyam is like fire, it is never extinguished but gradually spreads and grows hotter. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, as a fish swims about merrily when put in larger water, so is the man who has renounced the world. Never does he want to be fettered again. Disciple, is it possible without a guru? Swami Brahmananda replies, I think not. Guru means one who shows the path to the Ishtam through a holy name, mantram. Upa-gurus, intermediaries can be many, but the Supreme Guru is one that commands, practice these sadhanas and move with holy men. In olden times, the custom was to live with the Guru. The Guru would watch over the pupil and pupil would serve him. When the pupil went astray, the Guru would bring him back. So none but the knower of the Brahma or one far advanced in sadhana should be chosen as the Guru. Disciple, how to know him? Swami Brahmananda, by moving with him closely for some time. The Guru too will watch his would-be disciple. If the disciple possesses a strong desire for enjoyment and cannot be easily brought round, the Guru will not initiate him. He will reject him. Whomsoever the Guru chooses, he will keep with him and watch over him. The family Guru has one advantage, that he knows everything regarding the family to which the disciple belongs. The way to focus the mind is by prayer and worship, concentration and meditation. Pranayama, control of breath too, is a way, but not safe for the householder. The loss of the vital fluid brings about disease. Good food, a good place, and pure air, these are necessary. There is no other condition for meditation. Meditation in solitude has to be practiced, not for an hour or for a day. The more you practice, the more benefited you will be. Go wherever you choose. If you find a good place with favorable surroundings, take that for your practice. Seek Him and Him alone. Give up Kamani, Kanchan, lust and greed. First practice renunciation in the mind. Draw in the mind from earthly things. In the beginning, meditation must be sakara with form, then nirakara, formless, and finally you realize that Brahma is real and all else is illusion. The world as it appears to us is all illusion. In Samadhi, the world does not exist, only bliss, as after deep sleep. A man says, I tasted real joy. When a man descends from Samadhi, like the rishis, he says of his experience, it was bliss and bliss only. Words cannot describe it. The I and thou vanish. Satchidananda, existence, knowledge, bliss absolute alone remains. If asked what is the proof that God exists, the answer is I have seen God and you too can see him if you follow me. So have said all the saints and saviors. As Sri Ramakrishna has said, by merely repeating the name of Siddhi, hemp leaves, you cannot become intoxicated. Gather them, grind and dissolve them, drink them and wait for a while. Then alone will you feel the intoxication. In the same way, simply crying out, Lord, Lord will not do. Practice sadhana and wait. Disciple puts a question to Swami Brahmananda. In performing japam, sometimes I forget everything. What is that, sir? Swamiji, the Panchadasi is of the opinion that this feeling stand as an impediment. Meditation means to think of Him, and when this is intensified, when God becomes visible, it is samadhi. After samadhi, the blissful emotion lingers on for a long time. Some hold it continues forever. Sri Chaitanya sent a man to Ramananda lived a life of luxury, but but at the name of the Lord a fountain of tears of devotion burst from his eyes. The man did not understand why he wept. They say, if you are not a sadhu, you cannot know a sadhu, as a brinjal seller cannot appraise a diamond. Only that one who through sadhana has attained a higher stage can understand a true devotee. At the time of meditation, you must think that desires and passions have no existence, that they are unreal. Gradually, this impression will sink into your mind. As you drive out these thoughts, force in good ones. During your meditation, if you perceive some light or sound, know that you are going along the right path. But these are trivial signs. Still, as signs, they are good. Meditating in a lonely place, one can hear the sound of Parnava, sound symbol of the Burma, or that of a bell, or a sound from a distant place. There was a man, a great daredevil. 15 minutes before his death, he said, carry me straight to the Ganges. Do you think I wish to die here? Reaching the sacred stream, he smiled and prayed, Mother, I have sinned much. I believe, Mother, thou can't wash away everything. Save me, O Mother. And he died. I end this video here. Next video will start with chapter number 20. Topic will be God vision, vision of God. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar, my dear friends.